What's up, guys? It's me, I'm back with another video, and there's been another Antonio Brown thing. I've been trying to make this video for about an hour now, just trying to find the right things to say and how I want to explain certain things and all that other stuff. Um, so with all of that said, first and foremost, please make sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts down below. Keep it civil. I'd appreciate that. Because this is a wild ass situation. I just saw a tweet from Randy Orton, where he posted a picture of Antonio Brown that a fan took from the back of the end zone, and then side by side with a picture of himself doing his famous pose, and tagged AB and said AB here's and did hashtag AB here's voices too. Which I'm sorry, but if you see the post, it's fucking hilarious. But yeah, there's been another Antonio Brown thing, and I've already alluded to it, so I'll just go right into it. During the third quarter of the Buccaneers game against the Jets earlier today, Antonio Brown essentially quit on the team. We don't know exactly what caused this to happen, what led up to it, but from fan footage, shows Antonio looking pissed off, Mike Evans and OJ Howard coming over to try to calm him down, and then that didn't work, and then Antonio, took his jersey and his pads off. He took his undershirt off, threw it into the crowd, took his gloves off, threw it into the crowd, ran through the end zone, and left. After the game, Bruce Arians said in his post-game press conference that Brown is no longer a Buccaneer. Brady asked for people to try to have some sort of sympathy for Antonio, and said that everybody wants Antonio to be at his best and whatnot, which we'll get into Brady and AB in a little bit. And Le'Veon Bell was also asked about the situation. Keep in mind, of course, that Le'Veon Bell is a former teammate of AB's with the Steelers and had recently been picked up by the Buccaneers. So, where do we even start? First, between this and the fake vaccination card thing, which I'm surprised he hasn't gotten in trouble with the law for that, because with the other two players that were found with fake vaccination cards, because isn't that a felony? But all in all, this just adds to a growing list of on the field and off the field bullshit that Antonio Brown's been involved in that have hampered himself and his career in the last several years. Now, it's hard to pinpoint exactly where this started. Some would say that maybe this is just who he is as a person. Some would say it has something to do with something else, which I'll get to that in a little while. But I think at the end of the day, it's just sad to see how far he's fallen off, from being one of the top wide receivers in the NFL to being a guy that really nobody wants anything to do with anymore because of all of his antics. I mean, if Tom freaking Brady, who tries working with you, and you even if for a time it looked like things would be different, but in the end he's still, Antonio, that is, still ends up turning on you. If the help that a guy like Tom Brady is trying to give you doesn't work, you're then I don't know what else to say. I don't know who else can help this man, because Brady, he busted his ass for Antonio. I think Brady is the sole reason why Antonio was signed by the Buccaneers last year and retained this year, because Arians had said previously that he didn't want Antonio Brown on the team because of the antics. But I think Brady talked with him and talked about how he was helping Antonio to be a better person and stuff like that. They probably had meetings about it, probably outlined what would happen if Antonio fucked up. And for the time that he was with the Buccaneers last season, everything seemed fine. Off the field stuff was getting settled. He was playing well, and they ended up winning a Super Bowl with him. And then this season happened. So, in terms of the antics, Well, first of all, in terms of just Antonio as a person, his NFL career is done at this point. There's no other way to put it other than he's done as an NFL player because I don't think anybody's going to want to sign him. Even like Dallas apparently, just lost Michael Gallup potentially to a torn ACL in their loss to the Cardinals tonight. They could use another wide receiver for the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to bring in Antonio just because of the antics and shit and just all the baggage that he carries. And it feels like we saw glimpses of this stuff going back as far as 2015, 2016. But the antics really ramped up back in 2018, and that's what's led us to where we are now with him. And like I said, it's just a timeline of things between domestic issues, sexual assault allegations, assault, with freaking throwing furniture out of a 14th floor apartment building, where he almost hit a 22-month-old kid, throwing rocks at his moving truck driver, issues with his girlfriend or whatever, all this other shit. And then, of course, then you have all the on-field stuff between his antics in Pittsburgh in 2018. You have some of it revolving around the Le'Veon Bell situation, some of it just revolving around himself. You have everything that happened with the Raiders between him wanting out of Pittsburgh, him getting traded to the Raiders. He gets the new contract from them after getting a new deal with the Steelers just 2 years prior, or a year or so prior. You have his public spats with Mike Mayock, where he, one of which he called Mike Mayock a cracker, which is a derogatory term of sorts. You have the helmet thing. You have the thing with his feet and it, them getting messed up in I think cryogenetic chamber or something like that, or whatever it was. And then the helmet issue was what really got him, along with his antics, got him kicked out of Oakland, and they cut him. And then he goes to New England for literally one game, because then the sexual assault allegations came out, so he got cut from there. And then you have what we've seen the last couple years. And, I don't think necessarily it should be speculated as to what happened today. Some put out that it might have been that Bruce Arians benched him. Noted by Spot Track that he was close to reaching a couple of incentives within his contract, where he needed like one more receiving touchdown, a few more catches, a certain amount of yards to achieve them, and maybe he got pissed because of that. Other sources are saying that he wasn't benched. He was asked to go back into the game, and he said no. But whatever the case may be, we'll probably find out what happened pretty soon. I would say sometime within the week. And the NFL is probably going to take action against Antonio regarding his antics. Probably a fine, maybe a suspension. I think probably a suspension because he's a repeat offender of sorts. When you look at his past. But yeah, I don't see him going to another NFL team. And he's probably just done. And it sucks because when you look at his statistics, he's an absolute Hall of Famer. He finally got that Super Bowl ring. He had amazing seasons with the Steelers, coming out of being a 6th round draft pick, originally drafted as a return guy. And just, but when you look at all the antics and all the bullshit, there's no fucking way he's going to the Hall of Fame. No fucking way in hell. But that's neither here nor there right now. The way I see it, I think a lot of what's going on with him, I think stems from the hit he took from Vontaze Burfict and the potential that he probably has CTE from it. Like, he's taken he's taken various hits, obviously, but the ferocity of that hit, it was a helmet to helmet, head to helmet to head hit, and the fact that it knocked him out, you have to wonder if it has to do with that. If that at that moment something happened. But if you were to like build a timeline of for Antonio, um, you know, he wasn't really all that known. Like he was getting, he was becoming more of a wide receiver than just being a return guy through his early years. Um, and then of course you get to 2014, which is when he really came on the scene. Where we have the famous clip of him attempting to hurdle Browns punter Spencer Lanning, because of course it had to be against the Browns, where he tried to hurdle him, but he kicked him in the face mask, and Brown apologized for it afterward. But then you move on to 2015, and this was, of course, when the Vontaze Burfict hit happened. In the playoffs, in the wild card game, gets the hit, gets the concussion, knocked the fuck out, doesn't play the next week against Denver, and they get eliminated from the playoffs. And I think from that hit, it was a slow burn process that led to what we're seeing now. And maybe you could say that this was all there, and that this is just Antonio being himself, and that we didn't really see this until around this time. But, and I'm not using CTE as an excuse for his antics, because he's done a lot of fucked up shit. But it's well documented that people with CTE, with repeated concussions, CTE changes them. It fucks with them mentally, because it's the brain that's being impacted. And this is, to me at least, this is a clear-cut case of that. I think the first real, unless you want to count him getting fined for twerking on 2 different occasions early in the 2016 season, I think really the first, official documentation of Brown, be doing something stupid, it would be when he went on Facebook Live in the locker room after they beat the Chiefs in the wild card round, or in the divisional round of the 2016 playoffs. Despite the fact that 2 of his teammates, one of which being Ben Roethlisberger, told him not to, and him filming, the team on Facebook Live, and that included a speech from Mike Tomlin in the back, who was talking shit about the Patriots, which he had to apologize for, and would also, penalize AB for it. And then after that, we started to see him getting pissed off at Ben Roethlisberger for not throwing to him enough. There was an incident of that in week 4 against the Ravens. 2017 was also the year that he got his new 5-year contract, which that contract would have lasted him with the Steelers through this season, actually. But he, that happened, and we went on through the season, didn't really see a lot, but that incident, with him getting pissed at Ben Roethlisberger for not throwing the ball to him, well, that'd be the first of a bunch of incidents like that, because then 2018 happened. And that's well documented. If you've seen anything from that season, particularly Urinating Trees Days of Our Steelers videos, he has them all done separately, because some of them were done with his sports ball vids, but then he has an entire video week by week by week of every, of the whole Days of Our Steelers thing, from that season. It's just, things just got worse and worse with him. The diva-ness really came out from when he first arrived to training camp, to his comments in the media, to how he felt about the media, which we still see today, to all this other stuff. And Oh, he also took another hit from Vontez Burfict in the Bengals game um, early that early that season as well. So uh, two Vontez Burfict hits, two nasty hits. Um, think about it: concussions, CTE. It's got to be there. It's got to be. Um, but he had his antics throughout the 2018 season. Part of it had to do with the Le'Veon Bell situation, but also a lot of it revolved around himself. And then you have him getting in an argument with Ben Roethlisberger, skipping practices ahead of their regular season finale. He would be benched for that game, for that regular season finale against the Bengals. And what was originally reported as him possibly being injured, um, which honestly kind of came out of nowhere at the time, but that's what was originally reported. Then reported that he was skipping practices that week and got benched. And then he's like, all right, fuck Pittsburgh. I want out of here. I want to trade. And he forced his way out of there, gets traded to Oakland for a third round pick and a fifth round pick in early 2019. Um, Now, he was originally going to get traded to Buffalo, but Antonio Brown used social media to protest. And so that didn't happen. Um, he said that he said when he first got to the Raiders that he was there to elevate everything around him, and it was to be a surge of energy and positivity and whatever. Yeah, that didn't happen. So the first thing that happened with him was his blistered feet, which was frostbites from. It was actually a cryotherapy session. I think I mentioned it as something else earlier in the video, but that happened. So he missed a bunch of training camp practice. Then you have the helmet grievance issue where he wanted to wear an old helmet that he was comfortable with, even though it was banned, and the NFL wouldn't allow him to wear it. He tried, he found a replacement for it. The NFL said that wouldn't work. He tried to file grievances twice and failed both times, and then found a helmet that would actually, pass. And then you have the spats with Mike Mayock, posting his the fines that he got from Mayock just to his social media, the verbal altercation where Brown called him a cracker, and the reports that he had hit Mayock and that teammates had to help hold him back. Ironically, one of them being Vontez Burfict. Him punting a football and getting told and then saying, "Fine me for that." Then you have him giving an apology and giving another statement. And then the very next day, he demanding his release after they voided his guaranteed money. Getting and then gets released right before his 2019 salary would have been guaranteed. Then you have the one game he played in New England, him getting cut, and then so on and so forth. So at the end of the day, it's either CTE has fucked this man up big time, and part of this is also his own attitude having come out, but CTE playing a role in it, or it's straight up just him being a jackass. Honestly, it could be one or the other, or it could be both. But at the end of the day, what he needs is help. You look at these antics, you can't tell me that these antics, to some degree, aren't like a cry for help. It's all about Antonio accepting that help, and that's what we thought was going on with him and Tom Brady, and that has backfired essentially. So, yeah, that's really all I got to say on it. We'll see what happens with Antonio in the next couple of days, but yeah. So, again, let me know your thoughts down below. I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.